not going to give. And just in reference, because I don't think I've ever actually spoken to you about the last fight. Like, what are your takeaways from the last fight? Like, what did you learn from that whole experience? Or firstly, what did you make of the whole fight? I mean, I know you said you were expecting a grappler, but she ended up, being more of a striker than you thought.
From the first punch that she landed on me, I was like, holy like this is...
Did you feel strong? Or?
Very strong. So I've said this on my podcast, but we've got this like saying that Mike has used in the gym a couple of times where he's like, no one's going to hit you as hard as Dom. No one's going to be as fast as Annie, blah, blah, blah. So we've got really good sparring partners, female sparring partners in the gym, which a lot of gyms don't get access to. They often only have to go with guys, and we've got some solid women in the gym. So it's been preparing for fights has been nice because of that. And the minute I got hit, I was like, they've lied. This is the hardest I've ever been hit my whole life. So I think a lot of people like to say that, it was that elbow at the end that cut me up, and and that if that didn't happen, the fight would have continued, and it would. I was soldiering through it, but like I was rocked multiple times. So the minute that first shot or two landed, I was like, holy, this is hectic. Obviously shot for a takedown. I don't think I got the takedown. I've actually only watched the fight twice. So memories are a bit hazy. I do remember that. So I think the wildest part was when that elbow landed. My eye sockets filled up with blood.
Oh wow.
So I just remember this like warm, thick. Blood is thick.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had that much blood anywhere before. So it was just this pool of blood in my eye sockets. I couldn't see shit.
Did you think you were sweating, or what did you?
No, I knew it was.
Could you see the red?
I didn't know whose blood it was.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why I didn't know that because I hadn't landed anything at that point.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking like, oh, whose blood is that? And then it was just like cement in my eyes, warm, thick, couldn't see. It was black. My eyes were black, and I was like, oh, cool. So now I'm grappling blind. This is wild.
Yeah.
And it's weird because in a fight, I don't know, maybe normal people don't have this, but when I fight, time kind of slows down, and I have these long monologues with myself in my head, and then like my thoughts
mid-fight.
So as my eyes filled up with blood and I kind of went blind, it took me back to a grappling session that one of our old jiu-jitsu coaches made us do, where he actually made us close our eyes and grapple with each other. And he was like, you don't need to see, you need to feel, kind of thing. So I was like, cool, that's what Brandon said I must do. Okay, cool. I don't need to see, I need to feel. But now this isn't grappling. Like,
you got punches. you can't feel punches in the space in between you.
So there is one moment that I remember, and I've watched that part of the clip back, where I'm literally trying to kind of re-tackle her here, but she's already there because she'd moved from where she was. Instinctively, at some point in the fight, I grabbed for an armbar, which when Alice and I chatted afterwards, she was like, yeah, it was nearly on.
I remember that as well. I was cheering at that moment. Yeah, I remember.
Mike still shouted, break it. But everything was so slippery. There was just blood everywhere. It was, it was wild. It was wild.
Did you learn a lot about yourself? Because I know, like, from what when we were watching the fight, my wife and I, we could see you wanted to continue. Like, I'm assuming that's the first time you've been taken to that point.
Yeah.
And was there something that you'd been like, I can actually like push through this kind of thing?
It didn't.
Or was it not registering at that time?
It didn't even register to me that like I had an option to not want to go. Like, that's just, I think, who I am as a person. It wasn't like I needed to. I remember thinking, this sucks.
Yeah.
This is not how this fight was supposed to go. I remember having those thoughts and being like, this is not cool. But there was no point where
it's like, I need to quit.
Look, the plan, we knew what we were up against in terms of an experienced opponent. I was a massive underdog, and I think in hindsight, if you ask me what I've learned, I think I've learned to advocate for myself and my growth better. That was the only fight that was put in front of me, time and time again. That's all Graham offered. Like, this was the only option. And I think my maybe ego, like, I never want to be seen as a coward or somebody that won't accept anything that's put in front of me. I've never said no to a fight, blah, blah, blah. So I was just like, cool, we'll do it. If that's the fight, that's the fight. But I think what I've learned now, and certainly walking into another organization, is to advocate for that you're not cowarding away from something. Like, somebody that's had 2 professional fights actually has no business fighting for a title against somebody that's had more than 15, 20 professional fights. Like, it was a cool risk, and I'm glad I did it. But if you ask me what I've learned, I think learning a little bit more about advocating for like growth first, if that makes sense. But having said that, we knew that she was going to come out strong. We knew that from a cardio perspective, she was cutting a lot of weight. I mean, she was teeny tiny at the weigh-in. Like
she was super drawn out.
She was shorter than me, which is wild because she's substantially taller. So I've actually learned since then that there are fat pads in your feet.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
This is a new thing. So apparently, like that can make you substantially shorter when you're super dehydrated. Like I remember looking down at her, thinking like, how did she get so short?
Yeah.
And the next day she was huge. I lost my train of thought of where I was going. Oh, right. So the plan was always take her into to the third, fourth, and fifth round, and that's where. So she was like she was panting all over the show. Like she was exhausted at the end of the first round. So had I had a second round, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. But
you live and learn, eh? And the did. Because I couldn't see in the actual fight, was it the doctor? Did the doctor stop it?
Yes.
Or did Mike make the decision to...
So the doctor came in, they decided between them. I don't know. I was waiting to be... So the cut man at EFC is particularly... That one cut man is particularly poorly trained. So there was no adrenaline. There was no... He put a towel on my face. Like he basically suffocated me with a towel and told me not to blow my nose. Everyone was telling me not to blow my nose. I'm like, guys, my nose is not... broken. Like I'm not going to blow my nose, but my nose is not broken. Like stop the blood. There wasn't even an attempt to stop the blood. Now I don't know much about. I've never been cut, so that was my first time. But from watching, there's usually some pretty good cutmen that can kind of try.
With the Vaseline and they put.
So obviously the blood couldn't stop because nobody actually tried to stop it. And based on that, the doctor was like, "Listen, we can't stop the blood. It's running into your eyes." I mean, I was completely blind in that after the cut. So. Decision was made, that's it. And it sucked. It sucked to have something so big with such a big build-up to end because of that. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that like had a hope in that round. Did I have a hope in the fight? Sure. If they could stop the cut, I would have shot for a takedown like as the bell rang, and maybe something could have changed. Maybe I would have had a minute before the cut opened again and I could have done something. But yeah, you're gonna make yourself crazy if you try and replay that in your mind.
You can't go back in time. But I mean, like again, like it wasn't you trying to quit or do anything like that. It was all heart as well. I mean, you were ready to go. That's why I was wondering who was it, the doctor, or did Mike say no? Okay, let's stop it. Because you look. I mean, you were still ready to go for round 2.
I was ready to go, and I think, it seems like because. I don't know. I want to say that it seems like because I'm a female that was so surprising to people, which was interesting. Like I felt, for me, it was just it's who I am, right? So I think, I don't know. There are a lot of fighters in the EFC that have zero heart, and like
especially recently. Oh goodness, some of your fighters have come up against people, and let me rather not talk about it because I'm not a fighter. I hate being the person that's like armchair critic and saying you shouldn't tap to strikes.
No, you shouldn't tap.
But if you're a professional fighter, I feel like you've put yourself in that position.
No, you get knocked out. Go out on your sword, 100%.
Yeah,
and that's how I feel. Like the way my fight ended, I would have rather been knocked out or choked out. But like to go out like that is just like, and I wouldn't have been. Maybe if I was Alice, I'd be proud in terms of such a severe cut, but it's not the way anybody wants the fight to go. Like you want to win clearly, not just because I didn't come out in you know what I mean. I don't know, but yeah, tapping to strikes it's not a thing. Shouldn't be a thing.
No, if you put yourself in that position, then yeah. But I didn't say that. I'm not. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that clip, I've got another one for you over here and over here. Please don't forget to subscribe over here and have a look at my other socials down in the description box below. Thanks for watching.